The Midwest is a region of cold winters, a region of hot summers, of huge lakes and rivers, of rich farmlands, of small towns and of busy cities. There is no sharp difference between the Midwest and any other region of the United States. Yet here there has developed a distinctly different literature. A literature whose point of view alternates between love of nature and fear of nature, between disdain of Midwestern people and values and faith in Midwestern rightness and goodness. This ambivalence is most evident in that Midwest literature that deals with farming and rural life, the Indiana poetry of James Whitcomb Riley, the Wisconsin stories of Hamlin Garland, the Plains novels of Willa Rolvag, and the prairie novels of Willa Cather. Among these works, there is a unity of locale, wilderness and farmland, a unity of activity, taming the wilderness, putting new land to the plow, yet describing similar scenes and activities. The writers took different views of farm life. Consider James Whitcomb Riley, writer of such poems as The Raggedy Man and Home Folks. During Riley's happy childhood, the family cabin in Greenfield, Indiana, was enlarged. From this comfortable home, young James was sent to a public school. In view of his pleasant childhood, it seems logical that Riley's poetry was sentimental and folksy. His subjects, the family at home and at prayer, the beauty of nature, and the old swimming hole. Yet, Riley had seen another side of Midwestern life. Traveling as an entertainer and medicine show salesman, separated from his family by disagreements, he endured great hardship, and he shared the misery of Indiana's poor farm people. Later, as a poet, Riley wrote lines that denied hardship, lines like these, from A Vision of Summer. The air and the sun and the shadows were wedded and made as one, and the winds ran over the meadows as little children run. Riley knew the difficulties of rural life, but he showed Midwesterners a beauty and serenity often forgotten in the grim struggle for existence. Scenes of Riley's youth resemble the Wisconsin setting where Hamlin Garland was raised in the 1860s and 70s. But Garland's viewpoint differs from Riley's. His books, including Main Traveled Roads and Son of the Middle Border, are openly bitter and sardonic. Garland returned to the farm after studying in the East, and he found that despite the beauty of the land, rural life could ruin a man's hopes and his character. In his story, Up the Coulee, Garland described a young man's return to his farm home. A brother who remained on the farm speaks to his city brother. Life ain't worth very much to me. I'm too old to take a new start. I'm a dead failure. I've come to the conclusion that life's a failure for 99% of us. You can't help me now. It's too late. This is the Midwestern farmer that Hamlin Garland showed us. Imagine the Midwest as an endless plain. From Kansas, Illinois, it stretches far into the Canadian North, God alone knows how far, From the Mississippi River to the western Rockies, miles without number, endless, beginningless. This is the land of Willa Rolvag in his great novel, Giants in the Earth. Rolvag became a teacher at St. Olave's College in Minnesota after having been a fisherman in Norway, a farmhand in South Dakota. Relatives of Rolvag's had settled the terrifying, barren Dakotas. And in his writing, he traced the path of their journey and the life they led as settlers. A tragic incident occurred. His 5-year-old son, Paul, fell to his death. And this merged with stories Rolvag had heard about the brooding hopelessness of Norwegian settlers traveling the Midwestern plains. In the best of Willa Rolvag's work, the Midwest is a mystical land, where men's destinies are guided by mysterious powers, like the ancient gods of Norway. Rolvag told tragic stories with unique immigrant overtones. And Hamlin Garland's farm stories are very deliberately anti-romantic. James Whitcomb Riley's farm poetry is very deliberately romantic. These authors never achieved special greatness, like Willa Cather, author of O Pioneers, My Antonia, and one of ours. Willa Cather's girlhood home may still be seen in Red Cloud, Nebraska. There, during the late 19th century, she saw the last remnants of pioneer life, and she tried, through writing, to keep the pioneer spirit from being lost. The setting of several Cather novels was the town of Red Cloud and the surrounding prairie. The people, European immigrants. And Cather contrasted the hot-bloodedness and suspicion of Central Europeans with the coolness of settlers from Northern Europe. There was, in those early days, a wildness and uncertainty about the people and the land, and she mourned its passing and immortalized it. Willa Cather brought a nostalgia, a detachment, and a great talent to the literature of the Midwest farm, and she made the Midwest meaningful to all English-speaking people. The pale, cold light of the winter sunset did not beautify. It was like the light of truth itself. When the smoky clouds hung low in the west and the red sun went down behind them, leaving a pink flush on the snowy roofs and the blue drifts, then the wind sprang up afresh with a kind of bitter song, as if it said, "This is reality, whether you like it or not." Willa Cather on the Midwestern farmland. Cather, Riley, Garland, and Rolvag drew vivid pictures of the generation of farmers that followed the frontier. When farmers came to the Midwest, the region began to develop its unique character. And later, when Midwestern people began to see themselves as existing in the heartland of a great nation, they began to question their values and customs. Then, the Midwestern writers tried to judge which values and customs could resist the corrosions beginning in the cities and towns, as well as in the farmland, during the 20th century.